Today we're looking at the losers bracket of the Enter the Storm tournament. We have Kinguin going up against Team Liquid. Team Liquid in the losers bracket after only the first match that they played since they lost to a Pushek team, and everybody was just thinking, what on earth is going on here? How could they lose this? And I've been talking to a couple of the Team Liquid players and they said, we are angry, we are mad, and we want to prove it now in the losers bracket that we can go to the grand final. We want to win this tournament, and we are super pissed that we lost this early already in the winners bracket. So Kinguin going up against a very angry Team Liquid, but they're playing their favorite map. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen, and we all know how strong Kinguin, the former ESC squad, is on this map. They lost in the playoffs for the ESL Major League, one map against Velmet here, but since then, and even before, they didn't really lose. It is their best map, and they get Zagara. Team Liquid doesn't ban out Zagara, and that's a bit of a surprise here, because Zagara is just the hero for Kinguin when they play here. The map control in the middle is everything. Having good vision on the two turn-in spots, they are very good at pushing the lanes early, just establishing a solid base in the middle and trying to deny their opponent to turn in. Team Liquid, on the other hand, they are playing this currently with Zeratul. They're also moving straight into the Lost Vikings here once again. So this is going to be a very interesting game and a good start into the series. Team Liquid has, of course, to be careful since this is a great map for Kinguin. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go right into game number one here at the End of the Storm tournament between Kinguin and Team Liquid.
Alright everybody, game number one is live, and as you can see we're here on Tomb of the Spider Queen at the End of the Storm final tournament. We are in the loser bracket and Kinguin is going up against Team Liquid. Starting to the left side of the map we have Lucifron playing Muradin, we have Falconer and Kalthas, Black Scob and Zeratul for Team Liquid playing his best hero here, Gran Paquetto on Malfurion and Vortex on the Lost Vikings. Starting to the right side of the map it is of course the German team in Vido Molvala for Kinguin, Snow and Zagara, Get Amher on Tacita, Nepsis playing Brightwing, and we have Antihero on Nubarak. So pretty cool game. I'm not alone today. We have a co-caster here. I'm Khaldor, with me is Sham2, and we're going to bring you the coverage here of the Enter the Storm finals.
Pretty excited to see these games already. I mean, Kinguin has come through the bracket pretty well, but they got knocked out by Gamers 2 yesterday, and so did Team Liquid by Pushek Gaming in the first round. So really excited to see both these teams. Ooh, and a pause on the map immediately.
Yeah, with the pause, actually, we have a bit of an opportunity to talk a bit about the talents, because I already like what's... Oh, well, that was a short one. I expected, like, some big problem that they had to solve. Actually, it was really funny, because yesterday we had one of the games where one of the players suddenly had a big cramp in one of his legs and couldn't play for, like, 2 minutes. That was the best reason for a pause that I've ever heard of.
I've never actually heard that excuse before. Physical excuse instead of, you know, something like my computer's broken.
Yeah, exactly. It was really good. Well, right now we have once again Kinguin running with Zagara, and that's the hero that they always choose on this map. It was actually interesting to see that Team Liquid allowed it, since Zagara is for Kinguin just like such a big asset on this map that normally opponents start to ban that out immediately, since it allows them a lot of control, especially on those two turn-in points. And that's exactly the game that they're trying to play, controlling the turn-in points and making sure that the opponent doesn't get access to the objectives.
Quite right, and if you can get all those gems, the great thing about this map is that you can actually take out the people who have the most amount of gems, and once you start taking them out, you can really turn the map back into your favor, but you always have to make sure that it's not going to be, you know, getting a whole bunch of kills for absolutely nothing at all. The gems are so incredibly important, and getting those web weavers is really, really critical to actually starting to snowball this map in your favor.
Interesting is going to be how exactly Zeratul is going to be played here. We've been talking about this in the draft screen already a bit. There are currently 3 builds that we've seen played yesterday, and Blackscope was actually one of the few Zeratul players that has not adapted and not started to use the auto attack build on this hero, at least not in the last 2 weeks. So maybe today we're going to see him go for the auto attack build here on Zeratul instead of going for that cleave build that he's usually running, and I'm very excited to see that. Level 4 is of course going to reveal it. Are we going to see Gathering Power, or will it be focused attack? If he goes for the same build that Alternate Fancy uses for the hero, he might go for the Warple Blades, but you already have a bit of action here in the map. Good rotations from Fnatic, sorry, not from Fnatic, but Team Liquid, of course. Very aggressive here already.
Yeah, they're being incredibly all over the map. They're just jumping back and forth constantly. Also really interesting is that we're seeing the Vala go for that auto attack build. There's no imposing presences except for Muradin's Reverberation. So it's a little bit of a weird thing to go auto attack build into that Reverberation, because as soon as a Muradin does get a slam down on that Vala, it's going to be a very, very slow Vala to use that auto attack build. But hopefully she feels like she can be in the back line for long enough to do enough damage before that auto attack slow comes in from that Muradin.
Yeah, and the thing of course is that with the auto attack build you don't really have the poke that you can expect with the if you go for composite arrows on level 1. If you have the range on your multi-shot and then later also the frost shot, you have just so much more control in those fights and the range for poking as well, that Vala is being a lot safer in the background. But at this point with the auto attack build, I don't really think that there are too many targets in the mix for Team Liquid that really need to be bursted down. Once you have Quitterize on Brightwing, you can of course really help with the additional damage, but I'm a bit surprised by that as well.
Yeah, and you know what, maybe it's just because when you're standing behind those web weavers, or when you're standing in front of those web weavers, you really get the ability to sit there and just stack up all of those stacks of hatred. 10 stacks, of course, makes all of your auto attacks so much stronger, and with all of the hatred buffs, you get just a ridiculous amount of damage coming through that's sustained. That they really are just looking for that sustained damage behind those web weavers to really abuse that map objective.
Yeah, definitely true. We have also now level 4 talents in the game, and that means we're having a double gathering power on the side of Team Liquid with Zeratul and Kel'Thas running it. So both of those I find pretty interesting. Again, we see Blackscorp going for that gathering power build, not going for the auto attack. And Kel'Thas, I feel that Vortex, or sorry, in this case it's not even Vortex playing Kel'Thas, but we're actually seeing Kel'Thas being played by, and I'm blanking, Falcon. So I was like looking frantically for him on the map, couldn't really find him, was trying to like sound like, oh yeah, I knew it all along, and then when the sentence was over I unfortunately still didn't find him, so yeah. But yeah, he goes for the talent as well, gathering power, and I feel more and more Kel'Thas players are really tending to go for Netherwind on level 4.
Yeah, I mean, if you are feeling safe enough, normally we actually see it with the double warrior meta, if a Kel'Thas is going to be going for that gathering power, but since they only have a single warrior, it's a little bit interesting, but the Lost Vikings do have the ability to really body block for a good amount of time, so it's going to be a little bit harder for the enemy team to get into the back line and really do a lot of damage, but of course there is anti-hero, and on that Anubarak he can just burrow charge in there and start doing a whole bunch of damage to Falcon. So Falcon just has to play a really, really safe game in order to keep those gathering power stacks. Gerdum Herd is going to actually get a little bit of a turn in here, and they're up to 43 gems turned in already. So they only need about another 7, and they've got 17 on their people already.
Yeah, they're doing really well here once again. This is the best map for Kinguin. They absolutely excel on this map, and they usually start to prevent the opponent from turning in gems from the get-go, and that's exactly what's happening here right now. With level 7 we have now different talents also of course coming into play again. Another thing that I want to touch upon is that we are having promote taken on Tacita and Brightwing, which is rarely happening on the European server. Normally all of the players will still stick around with the old talents going for protective shield, but on the North American server it's of course currently the dominating meta, and Shem 2 we have for you here in the cast, so you can probably elaborate on that a bit.
This is definitely because I'm in this cast, right? It has to be, because this is definitely NA meta where we would have 2 to even 3 some promotes. You promote the melee minion, and you have a really, really strong pushing force that wastes so many bullets on the towers that you just are able to do so much damage with it. So it's very, very curious to play on this map, on this style. Cloud9 Maelstrom went for this type of style with a Asmodan in the WCA America Finals, and they did pretty well. Unfortunately, Tempo Storm was able to turn the game around at the very, very end, but Promote's still a very strong style, and I'm glad to see that the EU meta maybe is possibly catching up to NA.
Oh, shots fired! Ooh. Yeah, I can't wait for those first regional tournaments, actually. I'll make you eat those words, my friend.
Of course you will.
No, but like talking about that promote for a second, it's of course not only the talent in itself, but just look how it fits in that composition. All of a sudden we're having Zagara not only greater controlling those 2 turning points, but with Zagara and Nubarak with a full beetle build, a double promote behind it, you have so much pushing power with all of these heroes that they definitely want to put a lot of pressure on Team Liquid here and try to like take those structures down with the first few web weavers that they get. And if you play against Kel'Thas, and of course you want to do damage in the early game, he gets his power spike at level 16, and at that point you might be in trouble if you didn't get an advantage earlier in the game.
Oh my god, Snow almost got the turn in, but at the very, very last second, Kel'Thas came in here, and actually it is going to be, in fact, Team Liquid getting the first turn in for the day. This has been 7 minutes, no turn in, no level 10, no anything. Everybody's just been fighting over the turn ins for so long.
Yeah, I can't really believe that they were not able to turn the last few gems in there. Of course, Kinguin, that is. Team Liquid doing really well at preventing them from turning the last 7 in and then get the completed turn. So the first Web Weavers for Team Liquid. They have the level 10 as well. There's just a few experience points missing for Kinguin to get that too. But right now the longboat could already be summoned. We're having also, of course, the Phoenix once again at the front line here with a 40-second cooldown. That heroic ability is just so spammable.
It's so incredibly spammable. In fact, it's probably already back up. 40-second cooldown is one of the lowest ones for the actual long cooldown heroics, and it does so much good work, so much pushing potential coming out of here from Team Liquid. They have just this really, really great way to stay very, very far behind and just start doing so much harassment. In fact, Anti-Hero and Gerdem Herd have to stay here and hold off this huge pushing potential instead of going to deal with Web Weavers in the other lane. Fortunately, though, for them, they do have Snow in the top lane, as Zagara is incredibly good at that, and then they've got Brightwing with Vala with that Hatred stacks in the bot lane, so they were actually able to clean that up pretty well.
Yeah, they did. They lost a couple of towers and they are now just slightly behind in experience, but it's not too bad. And once again, the turn-in attempt, we are seeing Team Liquid with another 80 gems. So right now, Kinguin has to be really careful. They need to make sure that they are able to turn in the last 7, and that's what just happened a second ago. Inviduum making that happen at the bot turn-in spot. Blackscorp not there in time to really prevent him from doing that. And of course, by now we also have the heroic abilities for Kinguin on the board, which in the case of Vala means we're having a Rain of Vengeance over Strafe. We see more Archon, Blink Heal, and in the case of Anubarak, not the Locust Swarm, but instead it is the Web Blast.
Oh man, and in the bot lane there was a huge fight, Zeratul versus the Vala, but Invidium was able to actually turn it all around, got a really nice Rain of Vengeance, was able to predict exactly where Zeratul was going to be, and actually caught him down. Brightwing was even teleporting in, so even if the Rain of Vengeance didn't catch him, the Brightwing is probably going to be able to get to it. And that's going to be really nice. That's going to give them that 5v4 advantage pushing with these Web Weavers.
Yeah, and they're pushing very hard at the top lane, and they took down 2 of the towers and also the gate, and of course the rotation towards the middle is immediate. They're trying to take down maybe the 4 tier 2, but Lucifron, Falcon and Blackscorp are already there. Zeratul is back to business, and they're starting to move in. At the top, the Vikings are still fighting it out against Tassadar. Snow is moving in now as well, and all of the Web Weavers have been defeated. But it is again Kinguin who took that slight lead in experience.
Yes, and that's going to be a very, very nice victory for them. They're going to start getting closer and closer to that level 13, and that level 13 is going to be able to help them out quite a bit, especially on this map. This map, leveling up is a little bit slower and slower, but wow, Team Liquid with so many gems.
Yeah, and they have so many heroes, so many characters, because you have 3 Vikings, so you can actually try and sneak a few of those away and turn in at the second spot. Blackscorp is already trying to protect the turn-in for Vortex. Olaf completes it, and there it is. Another Web Weaver set is descending for Team Liquid. They move back. Lucifron was really low, but it gets healed again by Malfurion. Anti-Hero just barely moving away there. The entire team in the mid lane already, and both of them now aiming for level 13. And that's an important talent for both of them, considering that Kinguin, of course, has to defend against this second Web Weaver set, and Team Liquid wants to push hard and maybe take down the first fort of the game.
Yes, can they actually do it though? That's the question. They don't really have a ton of damage done on any of these lanes, really. I mean, the towers are pretty much down at the bot lane, but mid lane and top lane, they're perfectly fine. So bot lane is going to be where they have to push it, but already we can see that Snow has moved in to actually just take out that Web Weaver immediately. And so it doesn't look like they might be able to get any forts unless they really, really make this middle stack work.
Yeah, in the middle they were able to take at least the wall down. They're aiming now for a well, but I don't think they will be able to push through to the fort here. It's interesting actually to see the level 13 talents. It's basically on the side of Kinguin, the Kel'Thas Respect build. They're all going for Spell Shield. Every hero that has a Spell Shield uses it immediately, and we all know why, because at 16 it's just so annoying to go up against that Ignite talent. When those Flame Strikes hit and you get a Living Bomb applied to you as well, then there's a lot of damage coming in for Kel'Thas. On the side of their opponents, of course, we're seeing Malfurion, not with an Ice Block, but he feels safe enough that he can go for Life Seed, which is just going to boost those healing numbers incredibly. I'm really looking forward to that. When I play Malfurion, this is always the best feeling when you realize, hey, I don't need Ice Block there, there's not enough hard engage to really make me like go for Ice Block, to make me play that safe, and then the healing numbers are absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually kind of curious about. They have to just make sure that they have to deal with all that sustained damage, and Malfurion is going for the exact antithesis of sustained damage. He's got that life seed. He's got the enduring growth and tranquility. There is no way you could ever take out anybody on their team. The only thing is they need to actually start getting some kills. So maybe they won't die, but they need to start getting some kills. They need to get Kael'thas with those gathering power stacks.
It's actually really interesting talking about kills in general now. So far, we have only one kill on the board, and that was the kill against Zeratul in the bot lane that you mentioned earlier. So both of the teams just really working between objectives, trying to get the web weavers, destroying structures, but we didn't really have any teamfight victims just yet. And so far, this is going great for Team Liquid, I feel. They get turn-in after turn-in, they have a bit of map control, I feel, and the scales are starting to tip in their favor, especially with level 16 being the next talent in the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if they can actually push this, they've got this web weaver, it's staying alive for quite a bit of time. They've got bruisers against them right now, though, so they just need to make sure that they take those out, and they have the web weavers down only to have health. They should be able to take this fort. They are sieging it up pretty decently. The top lane is also under siege, so this is going to be a win-win for them either way. They're going to get this fort. That's going to be 15 for them. But they've still got a bit of a way to go before that level 16 comes in.
Yeah, they played safe and cautious here. They have another fort that they took down with the web weavers up at the top. Snow had to move down and help out in the mid lane. He's actually the only hero that didn't take Spell Shield. I was talking about that earlier, but he's the only one who had the opportunity to go for Spell Shield and didn't take it. So Zagara here instead going for the Grooved Spines, and those Hunter-Killer talents, of course, on level 13 and 16 are what you will usually see on the hero. Zagara is normally so far in the back. I don't really think that she needs in this case, but I'm really liking the way that Team Liquid is currently playing this here, and it's very impressive to me. I've casted so many games of Kinguin on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and the way that they play this map, it's so difficult to get ahead versus them, but Team Liquid, they made it happen, and they have 60 now available.
And they're keeping this very well so under their belt. They've got a whole entire half a level lead over their opponents, and 16 is the massive talent, except for, 10 and 20. 16 is one of those really, really big ones. They can actually start doing a lot more things, especially with Lost Vikings. You can be so much more aggressive with them with that Norse Force. So I'm curious to see if Team Liquid's really going to make an issue out of something, or if they're just going to keep going for these turn-ins. They only have 35 gems right now, so they don't have another turn-in just yet.
Yeah, they turn in the gems that they have, and of course one of the talents that's going to be incredibly important for them on level 16 next to Ignite, which is of course the talent for them at this point, is that we are seeing not only Hardened Focus, but we also see Stoneform. Actually all of the talents that they're getting here, except for the double bombs, just guarantee the sustain in the fights. And that's amazing, especially when you have Muradin and you activate Avatar, you use your Stoneform, you are nearly unkillable, and that is amazing for them right now, especially when there's a Malfurion behind you that can use a protective shield that has that cooldown reduction thanks to the Hardened Focus and can just get that heal in over and over again.
Well, the level 16 has been grabbed by Kinguin as well, so they're sitting with that double blood for blood, but I don't think they're going to be able to even use it that much because they're going to blood for blood something and it's going to get healed back up to full health immediately. They've got Zagara, they've got Vala, but there's just so much sustained damage instead of actual burst damage that Malfurion is just going to completely heal it back up immediately, especially with Hardened Focus. Malfurion has that procced and doesn't have to worry about taking too much damage himself. Nobody on Team Liquid is going to take too much damage.
Kinguin has 157 gems. They just can't turn them in, and every time there's pressure against them, Zeratul was just trying to take Garam head out, moved in, applied a bit of damage, jumped back after with his wormhole, and it just works so well for them. Antihero, he's always trying to get to the turning point, but there's just nothing to do with it. It's really tricky for them to get some kind of control in this game. Maybe a pick would be helping, but the problem is who are you going to try and jump? And who do you use for that? They don't really have any heroes that have a gap closer except for maybe Antihero. You don't want to use that as Vala. You don't want to vault into a team. That's basically a death wish right there.
Yeah, and the issue here is that really looking at the other team as well, Kinguin doesn't really have a team that you can easily get a kill on, but it's a team you can easily zone. Snow has to play in so incredibly careful because of all of the burst damage that's possible from Team Liquid. So Snow has to stay so far away that he can only pick away at Lucifron, and Lucifron's got Grand Packet just standing right behind him, just healing him up back up to full. So the sustained damage is really kind of hurting them and being able to get any gems in.
Yeah, And it's just constant, like the flame strikes everywhere. We're also seeing another route against Antihero. He's been trying to turn in those gems for an eternity now. And it is TeamLiquid that just moves from the mid lane to the bot lane, catches a few more gems and starts to go for it again. Right here we have the engagement with the Rain of Vengeance immediately being used in the backline. The Void Prism against Gerdamhead already. Webblast being used. The Maw missing completely, not hitting a single hero, but Zeratul, the first one to die, and Vidum is trying to get back on his Vala. Already Vault used, and Vortex is trying to just close the distance with the go and go for the quick spin. But Invidum escapes, goes to the well. Only Zeratul dead, but Kinguin in full retreat.
Yeah, that was an incredibly weird fight that really came out of everybody. They put the Void Prison down on Gerdam, which I think was a very, very interesting person to put that down on. But that allowed for Kinguin to really get the turn in, and that's going to be the beginning of possibly them turning this whole entire game around. The sustained damage we've been talking about all game, it's not great for turning in, but once they get that one turn in, once they get a little bit of map presence and map control, they could possibly start turning this game completely on its head.
It was actually funny to see Zeratul die, so it was a 5 versus 4 in favor of Kinguin, but they were the ones running, and they were just running fast, because TeamLiquid, they went for the kill, they went for the throat right there. They were trying to take him out, and especially the Vikings with the go and everything that they had, trying to chase down Vala. But now it is the defense that they have to focus upon, the Spanish team. The Germans are moving in with the Spiders up to the top. We're still having the Web Weavers ready. In the mid lane, they've already been defended. So far, especially, of course, that Flame Strike is working out really well against that. We're having level 18 versus 18, and again, Kinguin is taking a slight lead in experience, ever so slowly.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they need to do. They need to start pressing their advantage in one of the lanes while the Web Weavers push on the other ones. They've got Promote going down this mid lane as well, so that's going to soak up a ton of bullets as well. And they're using the Promote, for Promote lane, and they're allowing just the Web Weaver in the bot lane to start doing some damage to those keep towers. You need to start taking out those keep towers now to start getting a lot more of that experience and start getting closer and closer to level 20. Bruisers look like they might be the next target for TeamLiquid. No, they're going to continue forward. They don't exactly know where Kinguin is, but Kinguin looks like they want to go for that second turn, and they've got 132 gems still. So it looks like we're going to get down into dancing around. Somebody cue up the ballroom music.
Yeah, and by the way, one of the things that I really wanted to point out is that creep spread. I mean, just look at that mid lane. Everywhere there's creep, both of the turn-in points. That's really why you picked Zagara on this map, because you have the perfect vision there. And TeamLiquid has actually been trying to take those creep tumors out, but it's definitely not an easy feat, especially with Endless Creep being skilled on level 7. As is, once again, Antihero jumping in. Apparently they're trying to engage. Falcon is immediately getting healed by Malfurion. And Rain of Vengeance, once again, they're trying to focus Blackscope. This time the Maw hits home, but the first kill goes against Vala.
And that's going to be a very, very nice person to take out immediately. Vortex doing a good amount of damage. Bruisering from the back line is going to get knocked out of the boat, but there's nobody capitalized on that 1.5 second stun that happens when you knock the Vikings out, and that's going to be TeamLiquid taking this advantage, and that's going to be another Web Weaver turn in for them. Very, very good fight.
Yeah, Kinguin retreating. It looks like they are going for the throw pit. They're moving straight to the throw pit at the top, trying to go for boss here. Vala is down for another 30 seconds. Apparently they feel very confident that they can take this now. And Antihero and the rest of Team Kinguin is already in the vicinity. Level 20 isn't there yet for the two teams, but if the boss is being captured as well and the Web Weavers are also pushing, then they probably can kiss one of their keeps goodbye.
Yeah, but the Web Weavers actually in the mid and the bot lane have been pushed all the way back to their own side, so they're not going to be able to do that much to the keeps. And in fact, they're going to disengage from the boss. They're going to go and shred on Gerdam, and Gerdam's going to go down. And it looks like actually TeamLiquid does get a good Void Prison this time. Let's see if they can actually capitalize on that. Snow is going to get rooted and immediately eviscerated. And we're going to see them capitalize on this so well. They've got the Web Weavers already at this top lane, and this is going to be probably a keep.
That was really well done here by them. The Void Prism was great, and Malfurion was ready with his root. He didn't take Tenacious Roots on level 16, but we have him instead with Heart and Focus here. He hit the root anyways, wasn't really a big deal for him there, and of course Zagara goes down, doesn't stand a chance. There's level 20 now. The keep is about to go down. We have Ragnarok and Roll, a double Bolt of the Storm on Malfurion and on Kel'Thas to take them out of precarious situations, and a double rewind as well. Muradin not even feeling the need to go for Heart and Shield here, not with Malfurion healing him over and over again, and he himself, of course, relying on Avatar and Stormform.
Yes, and that allows him to just throw down so many stuns, especially with level 13, that Thunderstrike. If he can lock down one single person in his slam, he can really do a lot of damage with a double rewind. And it looks like they're going to be able to take out a second keep as well. The third keep under siege by the little minions left by the Web Weavers, but I don't know if they're going to be able to capitalize on that. Level 20 has been grabbed here by Kinguin. Kinguin is forced to stay pretty defensive at this point, so Bruiser's going to go on over to Team Liquid.
Yeah, and we have for Team Liquid, of course, the 20s that I mentioned. On the side of Kinguin, it's also a double blink. We're having it on Zagara and on Vala. Finally, as an escape for Zagara. That's going to help a lot. Twilight Archon on Tacita taken, Brightwing opting for Rewind. Then we're seeing the Hardened Shield and Nubarak. So great talents to take for both of the teams here. And with 20 versus 20, that's really the time when Kinguin can maybe start to make a play again. The problem is really that with all the momentum that Team Liquid was building up, they took down 2 of the keeps. So 2 of those lanes are not constantly going to pressure against Kinguin, but they still have 124 gems and they're using it for another turn-in at the top.
Yeah, they in fact have another turn-in just about ready as soon as this one gets done as well. The question is whether or not Team Liquid's going to be able to defend this perfectly. They've got Bruisers that are going to go on their own side, so there's not really a ton that Kinguin can do damage-wise in the mid lane, because those Bruisers are going to keep up those Web Weavers for quite a good amount of time.
Yeah, Invidium and the rest of the team, they are now trying to run with the Web Weavers. The top one actually being left alone here, apparently. The rotation into the mid lane at this point. In regards to damage, by the way, the siege damage is absolutely insane on the side of Team Liquid. 200,000 and 180,000 on Kel'Thas and the Lost Vikings, which is absolutely incredible. The one thing that still blows me away throughout this entire game is that we have Kinguin always in a very defensive position, and they have the double promote and also the setup that really is just focusing on pushing power. But they were always the ones who had to be careful trying to take the mid, because Liquid had such a dominant position there. So really well played by TL so far. But the game isn't over just yet. Kinguin has been doing quite some work, and with those Web Weavers they might be able to get a counter kill on one of the forts or keeps. They really need to do some damage now.
Wow, look at the amount of damage that the Zeratul was able to do on Tassadar. That was actually a good amount of burst. Got both of the bombs in. Only 3 Gathering Power stacks, so that's a scary thing to see, just that Zeratul able to pop in, do that much damage, and then just pop away as well. Especially when you have that Kel'Thas that's constantly laying down those flame strikes.
The funny thing is that Zeratul doesn't even have only 3 stacks because, well, he died recently. It's because he only got 3 kills in total so far. It is a very low kill game that we're seeing here. 3 kills against 2. A very cautious play from both sides. The fact alone that Antihero hasn't really died in this game yet with all the gems that he had from the get-go is really surprising to me. Like, he was able to keep those gems together for an eternity now. He's one of the 6 heroes actually that didn't die yet. Brightwing, Anubarak, Lost Vikings in total. We have Malfurion, Kel'Thas and Muradin not dying once in this game.
That's really just the great thing about both of these teams so far. When you have a Tassadar, when you have a Brightwing on one side, and then you have a Malfurion with the 3 talents that he's got on the other, it's just nobody's going to die. But on this map, it's so incredibly pivotal. Most maps, you don't want to die. But on this map, especially with just how well these teams are doing in terms of getting gems, you let one side get a couple of kills, you get a little bit of map control going to one other team, and then that's going to be gem after gem after gem turn-in. And we can see that Team Liquid already is having that go for them. They've got 3 kills against 2, and that 1 kill, is that possibly the map control that's kind of led them into getting all of these gems? Possibly, possibly not, but I mean, they're definitely taking a good amount of map control from Kinguin, and that's what's really, really, really nice right now.
Yeah, the teams in this case actually both still fighting for the map control in the mid lane right now. Now the Phoenix coming down, Anti-Hero is being attacked, Black Scott moves in, Void Prism in the backline already, here comes the Web Blast, they're immediately attacking it, I'm loving this. Also applying their poison, and here comes Grand Paquette moving in again with the healer, that's starting to chase down the rest of the Kinguin lineup. They already have the kill on Anubarak, but they're trying to get more than that. In comes Lucifer with a quick bunny hop on his Muradin, Gravity Lapse against Gerd Armhurt, but the Maw is saving him for now. Snow with really good Maws now all of a sudden. That was a great one. The first one that he was trying to hit didn't even catch a single hero, but the last 2 that we saw, they were great. Unfortunately for Kinguin, Vala is still dying, and now Neps is trying to escape with a blink heal. He gets away after catching the gems, but in the end he goes down 2 and loses all of them.
Oh, but Gerd Armhurt is so low. He's got the shields, but they can't engage into the fort because it slows everybody down. That doesn't matter. They're going to go for Snow. Snow uses Bolt. He's able to get away, but there's 3 people down. Can they go for the court is the question here. Gerd Armhurt trying to ward everybody off. Snow coming back into the fight with Banelings. but with web weavers, but with everything else coming in Khaldor, it's gonna be game going on over to Team Liquid.
GG and well played. The 1-0 ending in favor of Team Liquid here, taking the lead in the best of 3 heroes here at the end of the Storm tournament.
Whoa, Team Liquid, wow, great play by them. Very nice control on this map. A bit unexpected actually. Shim2 and I were really amazed casting these games because, well, that was quite interesting what they did there. So we saw Team Liquid kind of dominating against Kinguin even a bit. Kinguin just never was able to establish that presence in the middle that they usually are able to get here. So in this case, they were trying to fight their way back the entire time, but Team Liquid doing a great job. In this case, it was actually Zeratul dying twice. Black Scorp already joking around after the game and just saying like, yeah, my team is already making fun of me, but as long as we win the game and I'm the only one and we get good trades on my deaths, it's all good. And of course, he had one of those roles where you oftentimes have to expose yourself there. The second map is now coming up, and on map number 2, Kinguin went into a composition that is very, very aggressive and also quite popular. You play Illidan together with Tyrael and you put an Abathur on top of that, so that all of a sudden you have a very nice jumper combination that can just jump into the backline of the opponent. Abathur is helping out there, can of course soak experience on the lane as well if needed, and this is what they're trying to rely upon right now. On the other side, we're seeing currently for Team Liquid, again the Lost Vikings. Vortex really good at playing that hero, and we're also seeing Khaldor again for them. So we're going into the second map, and Kinguin has to win this, of course. I mean, this is a best of 3. If they lose here in the losers bracket against Team Liquid, they are out of the tournament. Team Liquid, they have a good start in the best of 3 series, but let's find out if they can close it out with a 2-0 or if they have to go into game number 3 against Kinguin. Next map coming up right now.
Game is on. We have our second game right now between Team Liquid and Kinguin, and we are on Garden of Terror. Looking to the left side of the map, it's once again Team Liquid, currently 1-0 in the best of 3 series, with Vortex again on the Lost Vikings. We have Grandpaquette playing Brightwing, Black Scorp on Muradin, Falcon on Kel'Thas, and Lucifron is playing a Nubarak here. To the right side of the map, it is the German team with Antihero on Tyrael. We're having Kinguin, Nepse on Rega, Inviduum on Sylvanas, Snow on Illidan in this game, and Get Amherd on Abathur. This is going to be a good one. I'm Khaldor, with me is Sham2, and we're going to bring you the coverage here, the King of the Storm, well actually the end of the Storm tournament. There's going to be one King of the Storm that will be crowned here, I suppose, at the end of it, but that's going to happen tomorrow on Sunday. We're still on our second day of the tournament, and let's see who's going to take the game. Will it be Kinguin with the 1-1 tying the series up, or is Team Liquid going to advance in the losers bracket with a 2-0 victory over their opponents?
Yes, and whoever gets knocked out here, they are no longer to be in the tournament, and that's just the scary and sad part about this, because, of course, you always want to stay in the tournament as long as possible, but one of these people, they're going to get knocked out of this game. Black Scorp, Lucifron, and Falcon pay a very, very close attention to this mid lane, trying to push out Antihero, and it looks like, no, Antihero's just going to ward them away for now. They're just going to start roaming around here, though. Very, very nicely done. Level 1 talents, of course, have been grabbed. Bribe coming out here from the Brightwing.
I'm actually pitying that Direwolf on Black Scorp just a little bit. That fat dwarf on the Direwolf. Poor Direwolf. Like, seriously. I'm loving the skin, by the way, that we're seeing on Abathur here. Get Amherd, der Mann mit der Kuscheldecke, going straight for the Pyjama Throw here. Really liking it. That fits the theme. Did you ever watch his stream?
I have not watched this stream.
He has
he had one.
This baby blanket that he's always like wrapped into, so it just makes sense that he would use that Abathur skin here, and that's pretty funny. But yeah, he's of course going to try to soak the lanes right now, as we already talked about earlier. The big thing here is really going to be the Abathur support for Illidan and Tyrael once that they start to jump into the backline of their opponent's team. I'm really, really curious to see how this game plays out. This is just going to be great, especially with that double tank lane that we're seeing from Team Liquid. So tanky to see Muradin and Nubarak there, but once level 16 hits for Kinguin, those quadruple blood for bloods are going to be a pain to deal with.
Yeah, but they've got so many different targets that you have to go through, because you have also not only just the double tank, but the Lost Vikings as well. So this is really just a 7v5, and that's going to be really, really difficult for them to actually decide who they're going to blood for blood, because those Lost Vikings are going to be huge, huge issues for them to have to deal with, because they're just going to go straight on into the back line, or deal with the Illidan very, very quickly. It looks like Nubarak was just barely about to die, but Lucifron is going to be able to get out of here. He's going to go back home. He's going to run back into the battle and just throw down a whole bunch of beetles, because that's just what Nubarak does.
I actually think they're going to try and burst Muradin down here. if you take Muradin away, one of the tanks, and with quadruple blood for blood, you should be able to make that happen. First of all, you don't have to really dive the backline at the start. You can really focus just at the front, take that down, and that's so much CC that you have on Muradin and tankiness. Once that's gone, it's going to be so much easier to gain the momentum to roll in a team fight over the opponent. So when 16 hits, I could definitely see that happening. But of course, that's still a couple of levels off. Right now, we're having Illidan still starting to take a couple of temps, but Lucifron and Vortex are already there, the Moreno brothers. They have the spider senses tingling and went straight to the Bruiser camp.
Well, only one of them had his spider senses tingling because it is an Uberak. So he just told the other guy, hey, my senses are tingling, we should go over here.
Well, the Vikings, they got lost a lot, so maybe they just wandered off randomly on the map and ended up in the same place. That could also be the case. That's true.
Running in onto Anti-Hero, are they actually going to get the first blood of the game? He already used his Roderick Forge, his Anduin's Might, and he was actually going to get taken out here. Even with Gerdam Herd's little symbiote, he wasn't actually able to stay alive for too long. And that's going to be first blood, which is going to be contrary to how the first game of the day went.
Wow, Eric. Oh, they might find Gerdam Herd. No, they're not. Abathur had his body on the lane, but he already moved back. Jumps in with the symbiote again to try and help out Snow. But Illidan is surrounded by foes. Snow getting polymorphed and taken out like trash. Poor Illidan getting eliminated already, and of course with that kill they can go straight for the big Garden Terror up at the top, especially since down to the bottom lane we see the same thing for Kinguin. Both of the teams starting to get their seeds, but we have at this point already quite a few more seeds on the side of Kinguin than we do for TeamLiquid.
Yeah, but it's only going to be 90-90 split, I believe, maybe a little bit. Oh, 99! They need to get one seed, but they're unable to. The night has ended. That has got to be incredibly frustrating. However, the first Garden Terror isn't the most useful, really, because it only takes out towers, so that's not actually a huge loss. In fact, that's probably going to be a little bit preferred for them, because if you get that one more seed, that means that that first Terror is already going to be wasted, and you still have to get another 100. Anti-Hero taking a lot of damage. They're fighting over the Bruiser camp, and it looks like Anti-Hero's going to go down. Invidium in the middle, but the Tyrael explosion doing so much damage. Invidium is going to try and get away. Angers the Siege Giants.
Invidium just barely getting away there, and TeamLiquid stole the camp of their opponents. They get the Siege Giants here. Sorry, not the Siege Giants, but of course the Bruiser camp. So really well done here, and Snow has to deal with that now immediately. When we're looking at the kills, we have twice the amount of kills on the side of TeamLiquid. They're doing really well here, and especially Tyrael is starting to become the punching bag of TeamLiquid. 2 deaths already in the game. We're having now on the side of Abathon level 7 Needle Spine taken after Adrenal Overlord and Pressurized Glance. So the standard build for him. The one thing that I'm very curious about is a level 13 talent, because these days we oftentimes see a focus on the spines there as well, where I personally think that there's so much transference. It's just so much better to keep your frontliners alive, to keep those dive heroes alive. It's the standard talent that we see there, but a few of the heroes that play, or a few of the players that play Abathur are starting to shift away a bit from it, especially when they already take the Needle Spines at level 7 and try to get the additional stab done on 13.
Yeah, the additional stab is really, really nice at level 13, just because of just how much work you can get done as an Illidan. But of course, you have to be really, really careful of that, because when you go for that type of build, you're really kind of debilitating yourself with the other talents that you can go for at 13. So, and especially just with how much passive healing and how much sustain is coming out here from TeamLiquid, you have to be really careful about whether or not you're just kind of over-speccing into something that's going to be easily dealt with.
Yeah, on 13 we'll see what he goes for. That's going to be very, very interesting to observe, especially since we had Abathur already played a couple of times yesterday, so that's going to make for a very good comparison between what players are leaning towards here. We have the level 10s coming in now, really interesting talents just in general already. On the side of Sylvanas, we're having an Unstable Poison taking on level 7. It's just starting to dominate over Remorseless, which we still see occasionally, but it's more so the pushing arrow that you see these days, trying to just get those creep waves down a little bit faster. And an interesting talent on the side of Brightwing, since we have so much jumping power, and there we see it already with Judgment being used to take down Kel'Thas. They're trying to go for it, and here comes the Emerald Wind into play for exactly that reason. They get the counter kill against Sylvanas after Kel'Thas dies, and also against Rhaegar. Really well done by TeamLiquid here. And here we could already see Tranquility being used over Blink Heal. It's just so nice to have that when your opponent is playing with a jumper comp, to isolate targets or just to disengage.
And that was a really, really nice rotation from Team Liquid. They noticed that a lot of the members of Kinguin had gone missing, and they were possibly in the bottom lane, so they knew that they needed to rotate down. They knew that something was going to happen, but they didn't exactly know where, and that would actually turn into a very, very nice rotation from them to actually counter that completely and get that 1v2. So that's going to be pretty good for them, and the Night Phase has just spawned up here. So I'm going to be very curious to see who's going to take the massive victory here, even though all of the members here for Kinguin have come back up here, and Vidium's getting a good amount of seeds over here, but so many members of Team Liquid. There's a polymorph on him, and it looks like he's going to get completely eliminated. Did pick up the seeds, though, so that's going to be enough for them to get the Terror. But still, losing that member, 5v4 advantage in the map, that means Team Liquid's going to be able to do so much here.
I really like that timing on the polymorph. Gran Paquete was waiting until the Haunting Wave was started, and then once the Haunting Wave left, he immediately started the polymorph and was saying, like, not gonna happen, lady, this is not gonna happen here. You are going to go down. That's exactly what we saw there. So the kill was a really, really good one. Well played by Team Liquid. Team Liquid actually with a level 13 talent a bit faster now, and that's where we're seeing Sticky Flare taken. That's an interesting one to take. Oh, Blackscorp jumping into the battle immediately, trying to snatch a few of those seeds away, which he does. We're having once again Spell Shield taken on the side of Anubarak. It's actually really funny to see that so many Anubarak players go for very different talents on level 13, but up at the top, Falcon is taken out. Anubarak could not peel enough for him. We have the double Illidan already in play, and it looks like Kinguin tries to get another kill, but Blackscorp should be able to get away. Oh, will he though?
Oh, this is going to be very scary. Blackscorp is getting body blocked a little bit by Lucifron, and it looks like he's going to go down at the last second. Very, very nice by Invidium, getting the W off on him. Lucifron now coming in Snow going in on Lucifron very, very harshly. I don't think this is going to actually turn out too well, but it is going to push him away long enough so they can do a lot of damage to that fort. Meanwhile, Garden Terrors, both sides, doing so much damage to mid lanes, but Team Liquid's already chewed through the mid lane fort, and he's actually going straight on into the keep. That's the question here.
Yeah,
Can they actually get this keep? They're going straight for it. Vortex being so aggressive here. I love it.
Yeah, Vortex goes for the mid, tries to take the keep on the other side. We had the plan doing a bit more damage to the mid lane. Antihero jumped back in the last second. It doesn't really look like Vortex is going to get it, but it's going to be very low, and the Viking is just moving away. And this is touching on exactly what we talked about earlier. You have the plant finally goes down. You focus with 3 or 4 heroes on it, and the only thing that pops out is one Viking. And yeah, that's not really very satisfying to take this guy down.
Well, hopefully they can actually start turning this around by getting some bruisers, but it looks like, yet again, Team Liquid coming back in here. Looks like they're going to be going for the same exact issue that they did before. Antihero taking a lot of damage is going to go down. Can he actually turn this around with a huge explosion? No. Kinguin in a little bit of a rough spot.
I really love that Ancestral Healing, by the way. Rhaegar with perfect play there. Keeping Snow alive was not an easy feat. He used that and immediately sent the rest of his heals and shields afterwards to keep him alive long enough for the Ancestral Healing to actually hit. And he got that safe there. But then Tyrael dies. That's just too much damage. The rotations of Team Liquid are once again absolutely exceptional. Abathur at the bottom lane is still trying to soak experience to close that gap to get the level 16 talent. He knows that this is a talent where they might be able to start a comeback thanks to the quadruple blood for blood that they're going to have here. With level 13 we are now seeing the spatial efficiency on Abathur, so he did not go for that extra heal on Tyrael or Illidan, whoever he's going to symbiote in those battles. And again, Abathur just all over the place. Get Amhead now up at the top lane trying to deep push this one. Vortex is still there with one of the Vikings. As a former Warcraft 3 and Starcraft 2 player, of course, he knows how to deal with the Vikings here, and he's just soaking lanes like all the time, all over the place.
Soaking lanes and getting Siege Giants for the mid lane as well. And this mid lane already pushing with the catapults is going to be a pretty big issue for them. So maybe he throws down one Viking just to push with them, or maybe he throws his Vikings everywhere else. The Night Phase just about to begin here in another 15 seconds. So Vortex is probably also ramping up to get into the next Terror, as well as setting up everything else with all these mercenary camps. Team Liquid absolutely all over the map, and it looks like everything that Kinguin can do is just react. Oh, Snow taking a lot of damage. It looks like there's going to be a huge amount of stuns. There's the Judgment coming in there on the right wing. Antihero staying in the middle of the lane, in the middle of the team, but he's taking so much damage. But the 4 Blood for Bloods are doing a good amount of work here. They did melt down the Mirrodin, but Antihero does go down. That's going to go down as well. Invidium now going to get engaged upon by Vortex. Vortex is absolutely all over the map. There's the chase from Vortex, and they've cleaned up 3 members already of this team, and now Team Liquid's got a very, very dominating map control position.
The 4 Blood's already taking out Mirrodin, but then afterwards there was just so much damage, especially from the Flame Strike that we saw on Khaldor, and they took Kinguin apart there. It was also really nice to see how Tyrael was trying to direct his explosions so that the Vikings would take all the damage, but the problem is that Vortex anticipated that already, was patient enough with the jump to completely negate that damage there. Very well played by them. They only lose that tank, they only lose Blackscorp, who by the way died 3 times in this game. So after he died twice in the last one, another 3 deaths on him in this one. Not his best. Well, he's kind of getting punched down in every single fight, but I don't think he's going to be too happy about that. He kind of prides himself on his Zeratul play. In the last game he was the only one on his team that died. Now he is has the most deaths on Mirrodin. I don't think he's going to be too happy about this.
Somebody please report him for feeding the enemy team.
Yeah.
Kinguin, though, is going to give him like the MVP award for their team. If they actually win this match, that's going to be a little bit of a difficult spot for them to do, though. Because, I mean, right now they're kind of poking around. Blackscorp being very, very aggressive yet again. You got to be careful of the quad blood for blood, though, Blackscorp.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing this well. Of course, he's always at the front line here where he has to be, and he's going to be pretty happy about these fights. Trading his life for another 3 or 2 on the opponent's team is always worth it. And as you can see here with the damage already, we're having especially, of course, Khaldor starting to get a bit farther ahead here. He's back to 20,000, and he's going to take the lead very, very soon once he gets his Flame Strikes in, thanks to level 16 talent, thanks to Ignite. When we're looking at Kinguin, on the other hand, the biggest damage dealer here is still Abathur, and that's really where that spatial efficiency on level 13 comes into play now as well. So Abathur doing a whole lot of work, and of course trying to use the double Illidan once again in those fights. Can he now, though?
Oh, I don't know. It looks like they're trying to.
For now, we have him in the plant, and the slug is gonna die. No! No! It gets no.
Oh,
he got away.
Immediately, he got it on Rhaegar.
He got away. He got away. He's in Rhaegar.
Now going back in, but the Brightwing disengages so strong.
And the slug gets the Stormbolt to the face. Like Rhaegar goes down, Gadamhead appears in the middle of the fight with his Abathur that had like no health, and the Stormbolt is already flying. Oh, that poor guy. Abathur is down, and now they're trying to go for Rhaegar. Blackscorp gets the kill, and Team Liquid, they are on level 20. What a great play by them here.
That was such a precarious situation to be in as an Abathur. I'm going to take the Garden Terror, guys, but please make sure it doesn't die before I get back to base. And then probably just yelled at his team that they had one job. Meanwhile, I mean, they're sitting with 3 people out on the map. They've got the full Lost Vikings. They can just run around, start taking out all these mercenary camps, because look, the whole entire map is yellow right now, and soon it's going to be blue. Snow running right back on into everything, but getting stunned pretty ridiculously enough. Wow. Getting completely stun locked. Vortex was able to completely clean that up, and now they've got the Lost Vikings pushing down this keep. They've got these Siege Giants as well. They've got such a huge map advantage, and they don't even have to worry about the fact that Brightwing has to come back in because she can immediately phase shield. So it doesn't really seem like they're losing too much map control and taking as much time as they want to just run around and get all these mercenary camps.
Yeah, that looked a bit on tilt, to be honest. Like 2 of the heroes moving in. I'm not quite sure how they thought they would be able to take 3 heroes down that have level 20 on top of that, so I'm not quite sure what the thought process was there, with both of them initiating just into the 3 that were trying to take the Siege Giants. But, well, Illidan is still down for another 15 seconds, and that's, of course, time for the plan to already cross the map on the rest of the team to start to prepare. Anti-hero nearly dying, but a last second heal with answers to healing. Blackscorp, on the other hand, is getting jumped once, twice. They used Feral Lunge here on Rhaegar, and then also Judgment from Tyrael to make that kill happen. Blackscorp dead again, but Vortex is already on the core, using the plant here to supply the damage. Illidan jumping in now that he's resurrected. Can they defend here? They might be able to, but already 50% on the core. And the core is just like falling faster and faster. Now Khaldor is down, only 2 heroes are still alive. The plant is finishing the game just barely before it ends. Congratulations for 2-0 victory. Team Liquid takes down Kinguin here at the end of the Storm tournament.
TeamLiquid on fire today. These guys, they said it, they are angry, they are mad, and apparently it's pushing their skills to even another level. Kinguin not able to take a map against TeamLiquid here. TL advancing in the losers bracket to the next round after defeating Kinguin here with a 2-0. Very impressive performance by them. And it just shows once again that the Lost Vikings, especially when they're played by Vortex, are just such an amazing tool for them. It's one of the reasons why the hero is oftentimes banned out against TeamLiquid. So congratulations to TL. Very impressive performance. Yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed the cast and the commentary. I was casting, of course, with Chim2 here for a dual cast this time. We're going to bring you the coverage for the rest of the games as well. And if you're enjoying it, then give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. Also, let me know in the comments if you would really like to see more dual casts or if you just want to have more solo casts in the future. So I know what you guys would like to have there. And that was it for the day, so hope you enjoyed the series. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. The comment section is, of course, always happy about a few more comments on the commentary and the games. And I'll see you guys next time with more Heroes of the Storm content on the channel. Have a great day. Bye-bye.